Hi and welcome to Yoga with Stacey. This session will be a more restorative practice known as a yin style yoga. So we'll be holding the poses for a little bit longer and we'll focus on the groin or hip region where we do tend to store a lot of stagnant energy or emotions that we might be able to let go of with the use of our breath and some of these beautiful poses. If you do have some props, please feel free to bring them nearby to your mat. If you don't, maybe you'd like to use some cushions or pillows, maybe even a towel or a blanket folded up that you can sit on top of. So feel free to pause the video momentarily to pop some music on if you'd like. Otherwise, find a tall, comfortable seat, maybe sitting on top of your blanket, a bolster or a block, elevating your hips slightly higher than your knees. Rest your palms down onto your thighs. You might like to take chin mudra with thumb pressing against forefinger and allow your other three fingers to extend out. And begin to deepen into your breath. Allow your outer edges to soften. As you take this time to fully arrive into your physical body, follow the flow of your breath in and out through your nose. Use your inhale to create length through your spine. And your exhale to allow your pelvis to sink deeper and heavier into your mat, into the earth. Take a few more deep, nourishing breaths like this. So you soften down your outer edges. And begin to tune in and check in with how you feel in this moment right now. And specifically take your awareness to your hip region. How do your hips feel? Is one slightly tighter than the other? And just observing and checking in. Not becoming attached to the outcome. Allow yourself a couple more deep breaths here. Soften the skin on your face. Take your awareness up to your third eye, the space between your eyebrows. And draw your hands up to heart center, Anjali Mudra, prayer position. Take a moment to set an intention for your practice. And let's open together with the sound of one resonating Om. Inhale deeply to prepare. Lower your hands back down onto your thighs. And start to take a little sway here from side to side. Massaging through your spine. Maybe starting to turn those sways into a more of a circular motion here. Releasing any tension, any stress you might be carrying here in your shoulders, in your pelvis. And then start to change direction. Continuing to flow with your breath, let it guide your movement. Find your way back to stillness. Take a full cycle of breath here in and out. And gently blink open your eyes and make your way to all fours. Stack your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Press the tops of your feet down into your mat and take a little sway of your hips here from side to side. And then take your knees wide, bring your big toes to touch, coming into our first pose here, Balasana, child's pose. You're welcome to place your blanket or towel between your hips and your heels. Maybe if you have a bolster, bringing that in between the thighs and laying it down along your mat. Lengthen up through your spine as you inhale. Settle your hips down a little deeper. As you exhale, start to hinge forward, fold at your hips and walk yourself down over your bolster. Maybe resting your forehead down. Maybe turning your head to one direction or the other. Feeling into whatever position feels good for you. And then sink into your breath a little more. And let's practice some pranayama together, a breath technique known as ujjayi or victorious breath. Inhale deeply through your nose. Long out breath through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. And hard out through your mouth. And this time in through your nose. Seal your lips, but exhale as though you're still fogging up a mirror. And you might start to feel a slight tone in the back of your throat. Continue to flow with this breath, that slight constriction, audible tone. Like the waves in the ocean. Allow one breath to pour into the next. This ujjayi or victorious breath allows you a deeper connection with yourself and your practice. So as you take each new in-breath, allow yourself to find a little more space here within your body, within the space around you. And with each resonant out-breath, allow yourself to sink a little deeper into the pose, to melt down a little more. And tune in to any tension you might still be holding here in your hips. And allow it to dissipate as you infuse your body with fresh prana, new energy. Allow that tension to wash away, to leave your body, your mat, to leave the room you're in. Allow yourself 3 to 5 more deep, full ujjayi breaths here. And then start to walk your hands back in towards your body as you rise back up. Move your bolster a little further forward out in front of you. The next pose we're coming to is frog. So you might like to take your towel or blanket out to the side as you position your knees out just a little bit wider. One knee on the mat, one knee on your towel or blanket. And then bring your bolster back in as you start to lower yourself down, taking a bit of a deeper groin stretch here. Now the goal is to have knees in line with hips and ankles in line with knees. But wherever you are right now is beautiful. So take a moment, even if your hips are a little higher, to set up some props to support you fully. You might like to place a block underneath the top of your bolster to bring it a little higher. And as you soften back into your breath, take your awareness into your groin, your inner thighs. Breathe love and light into these areas as you allow tension to release, your body to soften. You might even like to bring your heels a little closer to your buttocks, slide your hips a little further back to ease off slightly if it's a little too uncomfortable. We just want to be brushing up against the edge of discomfort here rather than feeling full-blown pain. We never want to experience that extreme pain. So find your edge. Dance up against that place where you are close enough to the fire to feel the heat, but not so close that you get burnt. Once you've found that position, you might be able to sink a little deeper into the pose again. Feel free to tune back in with your Ujjayi breath. Maybe you'd prefer to connect with a slightly different breath technique for this new pose. Let's inhale together for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. And exhale for a count of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're welcome to continue with this breath cycle count for a couple more rounds. Or you might like to let your breath return to its normal rhythmic flow. And by having your exhale slightly longer than your inhale, it allows you to connect in with your rest and digest nervous system, allowing your body to recover and repair, and to receive even more of the benefits of this style of restorative yoga. Take just 2 to 3 more breath cycles of whatever you're choosing to use. Firm your belly and start to walk your hands back in towards yourself. Press back up out of the pose and draw your knees back in towards the center. Maybe push your pillows or your bolster further away and move your blanket off to the side. Come back to all fours in tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Maybe a gentle sway from side to side to bring some blood flow back into your pelvic region. You might like to extend one leg out behind you and lower it back down, maybe the other side. And next we're coming into our pigeon prep pose. So you might like to lengthen your leg off the earth away and then bring it through all the way to the top of your mat, placing your right knee behind your right wrist, your right foot behind your left wrist. If you're a little tighter in your hips today, your heel might come a little closer to your pelvis with your knee diagonally out in front. And if you're a little more open in your hips, you might be able to move your foot a little further away, having your knee more out to the side. Wherever you are, please try to flex your foot to begin with. Scissor your outer hip points towards one another, starting with a little gentle firmness in through your pelvic floor. Inhale to lengthen up. As you exhale, maybe come down onto your elbows. You might like to place your towel or blanket, or maybe even a block underneath your right hip for a little extra support. And then bring your bolster in, maybe popping a block underneath to elevate it up ever so slightly. Take a couple more breaths here before you start to lower all the way down, turning one cheek onto the bolster or whatever prop you might choose to use. And allow yourself to start to deepen back into the pose. Now, if you don't have props, not a worry. You will still receive the benefits of the pose, and you might be able to use your hands here to create a little extra support, stacking one fist on top of the other, maybe even one palm resting on top of the other as you lower your forehead down, elbows out to the side. Tune back into your breath. Reconnect with your intention. Allow your mind to wander as you let yourself begin to drift into the ether. Soften down through your shoulders. And take your breath into your right hip, into any of the tension you still hold here. And see if you can use your breath to breathe it away as you infuse every cell of your being with fresh prana, fresh breath. And then exhale away any tension. If you feel called to move a little here, feel free. You might like to sway or rock from side to side. Or if you prefer to stay in stillness, that's also fine. Just listen to what your body is asking you for and answer that call. Allow your breath to permeate through your body, flowing freely in and out of you and all the way around. And even though sometimes these poses can bring a lot of discomfort, we get to choose whether we experience joy or pain, joy or tension, within our own minds. So feel free to take your thoughts to memories, feelings, visualizations that bring you joy, that bring you happiness. Maybe even allow a little smile to come to your face. And notice how that softens your demeanor. Maybe even softens your muscles and changes your energy. So both your breath and your thoughts can have effect on your physiology, on how you feel physically in your body. So use these tools, these allies, whenever you feel discomfort, pain, or tension building up. Tune back into your breath. Maybe just a deep yogic breath or any of the techniques we've talked about today. And also shift your mind, shift your focus to something that makes you happy, someone that makes you happy. Take a few more deep breaths wherever you are. Soften down just a little more. Firm your belly and start to walk your hands back towards yourself. Roll over onto your right hip. Swing both legs around to the front. Take your feet out wide, your hands slightly behind you. Allow both knees to flop over to one side and pause here for a moment. And then take both knees over to the other side and pause. If you're lucky, you might get a few hip pops and cracks. No worries if not. And then when you're ready, let's come on to the second side. Left leg towards the front of your mat. Sweep your right leg around to the back. Option to pop any props underneath your left hip. And depending on how open your left hip feels, moving your foot forward or back. Flex into your foot and your ankle to begin. Lengthen up through your spine. Inhale. As you exhale, start to fold down towards the front of your mat. Resting your head down onto your hands, your fists, or maybe onto any props you might have. And choose the direction of your head. Maybe resting down on your forehead or either direction. And once again, invite your breath back into your body, deeper and fuller than before. Allow yourself to find that place where you can soften and release. Surrender a little bit more. If you haven't already, you might like to close down your eyes. Take your gaze inside. And allow yourself to travel deeper into the depths of your inner world. With your awareness into your left hip, seeing if you can bring balance between your left and right sides. And as always, feel free to connect back in with any pranayama breath work that feels good for you. Stay with your breath here for another 5 or so cycles. Creating space in your hip on each in-breath, and maybe a little more depth on your out-breath. Draw belly button to spine, and on an inhale, start to walk your hands back in towards yourself. And welcome to find your way back to all fours or onto your hips. And whether you're seated on your hips and swaying your knees from side to side, or on all fours and swaying your hips from side to side, allow some blood flow to return into your lower body. And then let's make our way into the final pose. You can lay flat on your back and come into a full Shavasana, legs extended out along your mat, dead man's pose. Or if you have some props, you're welcome to place a block underneath your bolster, maybe 2 blocks. You can place one on its bottom height here and medium height towards the top. And then coming to sit down with your pelvis at the base of your bolster. If you do experience any sensitivity into your lower back, you're welcome to place a blanket or towel at the base of the bolster to decrease that arch. Tuck your tail under, bring the soles of your feet together and start to rest back over your bolster. Arms either side of your body, palms cupped up to the sky. And if your hips aren't feeling quite open to rest here comfortably, you're welcome to take your feet wide and bring your knees to touch. Or maybe you prefer to extend your legs out in a Shavasana style here, supported Shavasana, dead man's pose. So either here on your props or laying flat onto your mat. Close down your eyes and take a couple of deep, full breaths here. And fully surrender into Shavasana, a silent meditation for a few minutes. I'll let you know when it's time to arise. Begin to deepen into your breath. Allow your awareness to return to the here and now as you bring some gentle movement back into your fingers and toes. You might like to reach your arms above your head and take a bit of a stretch. Maybe bend your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze here. And when you're ready, use your arms to either roll you to one side and press your way up, or lead with your heart and rise all the way up into an easy cross-legged position. Welcome to sit back on top of one or two of your props. Settle yourself into a comfortable seat, just as we began. Draw your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra prayer position. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale to be heavy into your seat. Reconnect with your intention from the start of practice. And let's seal our energies together with the sound of one final Om. Inhale deeply to prepare. Om. The light within me sees and honors the light within you, beautiful soul. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. I hope your hips are feeling a little more open now.